All right. So I think we can all definitely recommend Duel. I'm glad I watched that. That was a cool movie. And now we'll move on to Death Race 2000 from 1975.
Did you say Death Race?
Death Race.
Death Race.
So small lisp in there.
Jam.
With Mike Tyson. I'm gonna get in this car. I'm gonna get in this car and make orphan for your children.
That would be fucking. That's the remake we should have gotten instead of Jason Statham. Oh my god.
Mike Tyson is Casanova Frank. No, it's not Casanova Frankenstein. Who's Casanova Frankenstein? That was Mystery Men.
No.
Yes, Mike Tyson for both those movies.
Oh man. Let's see. Mike Tyson is Frankenstein. Who would play the Machine Gun Kelly or whatever?
No, but Mike Tyson is the Machine Gun guy.
Who would be the Machine Gun guy? Mike Tyson?
No, yeah. bring back Stallone again.
Bring back Stallone.
He never
Frankenstein. Mike Tyson is Machine Gun. What's his nut?
we can have Dane DeHaan as the TV announcer. All right, folks, we've got a good one here. Except
what was that guy's name? Junior. They kept calling him Junior.
I don't know if I'm comfortable slapping a bitch because I got in jail for that. All right, Death Race 2000. In a dystopian future, a cross-country automobile race requires contestants to run down innocent pedestrians to gain points that are tallied based on each kill's brutality and age. Director is Paul Bartel, also known for Naughty Nurse and Eating Raoul.
I know what I'm watching later.
Naughty Nurse and Eating Raoul. Okay.
He must have directed that other Sylvester Stallone movie too.
Oh yeah, the porno. Party at Kitty and Studs.
Is that what it's called?
I think so.
Writers are Robert Tom, Charles B. Griffith, and Ib Melchior. Is that even a name?
Sure. Probably a pseudonym for something.
Explaining why he took the role of Frankenstein in this film, David Carradine said, "I started that picture 2 weeks after I walked off the Kung Fu set from 1972.
Oh, wow.
And that was essentially my image, the Kung Fu character. And a lot of people still believe I'm that guy."
It's a great TV show.
Yeah. The idea was, number one, if you walk off a television series, you better do a movie right away, or you might never get it. You might never get to do one. And the second thing was to do something right away that would create the image of a monster to get rid of the image of that little Chinese guy that I had been playing for 4 years. And, it did kickstart my movie career.
And now he's known for using a belt.
Well, he wasn't Kill Bill, right? He was Bill, wasn't he? Wasn't that Bill?
Yeah.
Yeah, but people still bring up the belt thing.
Yeah, Bill and the belt.
Both David Carradine and Sylvester Stallone did much of their own driving in this film. Oh,
I can believe that.
That is awesome.
And all you had to do is run motherfuckers over. In addition, producer Roger Corman drove in the scenes that were shot in public streets. Since the custom-built cars that were used in the film were not street legal, surprise. And the film's stunt drivers did not want to be caught driving them by the police.
Understandable.
The role of Frankenstein was originally offered to Peter Fonda, who considered the film too ridiculous for words and turned down the role as a result.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. That guy was fucking surfing in Escape from L.A.
That's right.
That is a great quote.
He was.
This film is too ridiculous for words. Lance, what did you think about Death Race 2000?
Oh my God, this movie, man, was so much fucking fun to watch. I just so many original ideas, all the political messages, the way that okay, so you got to think of it as being in 1975, right? Is when the movie was made. So you got to think about what was going on at that time. I think that's when we had like the gasoline shortages and like people waiting in line to buy gasoline. The movie Convoy had come out. There were a lot of Smokey and the Bandit was around that time. Yeah, no, there was a lot of shit, dude. I mean, America is all about the road trip, right? So we love our fucking road trips and we love getting on the road. I'm a sucker for race movies. There was a TV series that started not too long ago. Well, I say not too long ago, but it was probably at least 10 years ago. But you guys remember this, where they were doing like a cross-country race, and they would start like, I don't know if they started like in New York, and they would race to LA or vice versa or whatever. But like every episode, they got like through another state and different
like
drivers.
Show?
Was it like Great American Race or something?
So that sounds about right. And then of course you had like what was it called, the Cannonball Run. I'm a sucker for this kind of movie. First of all, that concept is awesome. I love that concept of a cross-country race. But my God, man, when you add in getting points for running over people, and the less they're able to defend themselves, the more points you get. You might get the most points for running over a baby or like an 80-year-old elderly crippled person. And then when they drove by, I mean, that's just genius, man. I love it. I don't know why this movie didn't spin off. I mean, this could have been a 10 or 20 movie franchise. We get shit like the Fast and the Furious. We need something like this. And the remake, and then now that did spin off a couple of other movies.
The remake was decent. The
remake was decent.
Sequels to the remake were not so good.
I don't think I saw those.
Well, but also
they recast Jason Statham. That's probably why you didn't see him.
And truthfully, Brian, I think that where those fell, I think they missed the picture because this had a lot of political satire in it. Like the country could go this way. Basically, we were neo-Nazis. It's what America kind of turned into, right?
Yeah, they had a whole Nazi car.
They really did. And I think they missed the point in the remakes because they tried to make it actually serious. They lost the comedy aspect that this one absolutely had. And then
you mentioned Benny Hill.
Well, and you've got those cheesy reporters. Like I was saying, like the guy Dane DeHaan could play, where he's like, "All right, folks, another big kill," and that was
Junior,
points.
The guy with the scarf.
Oh, he was awesome, dude. And then it's funny because they would start like they could show you how much the state controlled everything, because they would start saying, "Oh no," and it looks like we've got a racer out. Oh, hold on, let me see that note. Another score for Racer Nazi.
This is the Hunger Games with cars.
Yeah. More like the Hunger Games is this. Like it was all inspired by this. Like I can't think of anything before this movie. You know, I mean, I'm sure there was, but I can't think of anything that was this far-reaching. It just created an entire universe. You could have done so fucking much with this. I love the scenes when the racers would stop to rest and they were like all getting massages and stuff like that, and like just being treated kind of like royalty. But then you could kind of tell they were all was getting played by the lady that was part of the underground resistance, but then you find out he had his own little plan with his hand grenade. Get it?
Yeah.
Hand grenade.
When they did the hand grenade part, I was like,
man.
All right.
So it's cheesy. Oh, and I love the cheese, man. Sometimes you need a little cheese, you know, to go with your movies.
Well,
this is a classic.
Line. She looked down and he's like, "That's my hand grenade."
I'm telling you, dude. This movie takes a great concept, which is the cross-country race. It amps it up on steroids by giving you points for running over people and getting more points for the more helpless they are and just being sadistic. Then it takes a bunch of political satire and throws it at you. Of course, you know, you got to look at it through the microscope of 1975, right? What was going on politically back then. And I'm sure that there were even a lot of things that we missed, seeing it now versus if we had seen it when it actually came out. But I would have loved to have seen this get made. This would be a great fucking TV series right now. If you got just the right talent participating. But I'd rather it start out with more teams. What did this start out with, 4 or 5 teams at the beginning?
Let's see. There was
They killed them off one by one. They kind of picked them off. Like the first one is when they did the setup where it looked like they were going to run over a baby to get the maximum points, but the baby was a bomb.
Oh, that was wasn't that Nero the Hero?
Yeah,
I think so.
That
Played
was
by Sensei Kreese.
Yeah, that was Kreese.
Yes, it was. Dude, I would fucking love to see this like 10 episode season, like a different race every season. It would just be amazing right now, I think.
What
Especially
was that show that we watched with God damn it, I can't remember that girl's name, but she was super smoking hot. It was like
you're talking about Blood Drive.
Blood Drive.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was a great show.
Yeah, it was a great show. It only made one season. A Death Race 2000 TV show, dude, I would be on board big time. If somebody would come out with this and like do a different race every season, it would just be phenomenal. But you'd have to have the right talent, You'd have to have the right. And I love the way they paired up like a male driver and a female driver. But in the case of like Calamity Jane, she was actually the driver, and the other guy with her was kind of the mechanic or whatever. I think this movie was kind of ahead of its time. I can't say enough good things about it. I want to hear what you guys think.
Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said as far as the political stuff that was added. That was all great, but for me, it was just the fucking driving in action was just fucking ridiculous. The sped up scenes.
Yeah,
just to make them look
on purpose, man.
Yeah, just
That's
to
like
make it look
the Benny Hill shit.
Yeah.
Yes, they knew what they were doing.
It was great. All the
like great hair. Like, okay, so Brian, let me ask you. So do you appreciate the animation of Ray Harryhausen, stop motion stuff?
Yeah, of course.
Same concept, right? Super cheesy looking, right?
Yeah,
but it works.
Yeah, and I just love all the wacky characters. I mean, we had we brought up Sensei Kreese as Nero the Hero. You had Calamity Jane, Machine Gun Joe, which of course, like when he's not racing, he's dressed up like a 50s Italian gangster.
Absolutely.
We had Matilda the Hun.
Okay, so there were 5 teams.
You may have to put Machine Gun Kelly in it if you recast it right now, and he'd pretend to be a badass and then get his ass kicked.
He'd be the first to go.
But yeah, I love all the action. I just ridiculous storyline, the hand grenade scene, you could tell even though she was trying to work out her plan that he had his own plan going, because you get the scene at the old folks home where they're just wheeling out the old people in the streets.
That was
and he just takes that turn and takes out all the doctors and nurses.
The nurses are just flying up one at a time.
And then you got the other scenes. I think it was with Calamity Jane. The guy with that was treating it like he was bullfighting. Had the,
with a red cape. And I was like,
plus she had the bullhorns on her car too. So.
Yeah,
right.
And there was one other one I was going to bring up. Oh, the greasers or whatever they were supposed to be that were lined up.
Like the Warriors?
Yeah, and then right before the car came, they were jumping down the manhole, except for the one they put the manhole cover on and he couldn't jump down. And I have to give props to the cars in this, because they were jumping off of stuff and they were going off terrain and they were still going. And I'm kind of curious. I was kind of curious, or how many cars did they have, or
I don't know.
Or they just keep fixing the same cars to do these scenes.
That would be a great. I would read that book of the making of this movie.
Yeah,
they were probably like 4-wheelers with cardboard on them.
Are you talking about like when you guys did that show? I missed out on it, but I think it was the one with the kid from Gremlins in it, where you said that the guy had the wheelchair with the cardboard around it.
Oh,
and
Waxwork.
Oh yeah.
Waxwork. You talking
He
about
built
that?
him a little tank or whatever.
A wheelchair.
That's what these were. I mean, they were like go-karts with like
Yeah. Oh,
with
sure.
body
They
work.
look like go-karts for sure.
But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. It was equal parts action, thriller, political drama, comedy. It just had like a little bit of everything mixed in. And you could tell, even though he didn't direct it, anybody who's seen Roger Corman movies,
Yes.
he had his fingers all over this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Philip, when you mentioned that he produced it, I wasn't exactly shocked.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I definitely had a good time with it. It was kind of equal parts hilarious and ridiculous and fun. Fucking Sylvester Stallone before Rocky, and he
Right.
killed this role. I loved him.
Oh
in this
yeah,
movie.
he stole the show. He
Yeah,
stole
he
the show.
definitely stole it.
I mean, Frankenstein was needed to move the story along, but let's face facts, man. Machine Gun Joe was like the character
Oh
that I
yeah,
remember from watching this when I was a kid and stuff. You know?
yeah. He's like eating the fucking what was it? Cream? Some kind of fucking I don't know. He had it all over his goddamn face.
Yeah, like it's just like showing he was like an animal.
I don't know, but his navigator was fucking hot.
Yeah, he slapped the shit out of her though. I don't know what the hell his problem was.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
he was
that's
just.
true. I forgot about that.
I know they're trying to play off that he's supposedly angry at always being number two,
Yeah.
but
That
it
makes
was a little
sense.
much because there were just some scenes. I was like,
Um,
you're at this big dinner and you got this smoking hot navigator. Calm down.
Right. And you're being an asshole. Hey, so let me ask you guys a question. There is one thing that one scene almost took me out. Okay, so when the crowd, they're all going like, he stands up, and they call his name out, Machine Gun Joe, and the crowd's all going, Frankenstein, Frankenstein, and they have the F's on their shirts,
Uh-huh.
and he pulls out his machine gun and he's shooting, but nobody like fell over or got
Yeah, I
hit or
thought
anything.
that was weird,
Obviously, it was
too.
blanks, right? Was it blanks?
No,
Just for look.
I would have appreciated neither he would have shot the crowd.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for.
Or he shot in the air and then you showed the crowd kind of jumping out of the way, like ducking.
Yeah, it was obviously blanks. Like,
Yeah.
I guess that was outside the rules. But it was okay, according to the change of rules, to run over your own fucking mechanical team and the reporters.
Well, they also changed the rules when Frankenstein ran over the religious figure.
That's right.
Yeah, it was a whole lot of whacking. And then when Frankenstein like kills the president at the end somehow.
Oh yeah, by driving into his podium.
Yeah, drives
Just
into his
knocked
podium
him down.
and suddenly he's dead. And now they're like, "Wow, what do we do? I guess Frankenstein's the president now."
Well,
Is that how this
there's a lot of
Well-
wacky stuff in there, like how Matilda the Hun and what was it, Herman the German, how they just see a detour and they just drive through a cardboard tunnel right off the cliff.
It's like Wile E. Coyote.
They fell for the old detour trick. And that was funny because the detour sign was on the right, but you could have just gone around it because the left lane was wide open.
I mean, it was kind of like a mixed bag of stuff because that was comedic, but then Calamity Jane, her driving over the mine because they played the whole scene like was she gonna drive over the mine or not, which was cool because that kind of gave you like a suspense moment. But like I said, the Matilda the Hun driving off the cliff, Looney Tunes style, was ridiculous.
And then she'd been driving off road the whole goddamn time, and then she decides to pull this Austin Powers 12-point turn, and finally hits the mine. What they should have done when he drove off the cliff though is wait until he looks down to fall.
Oh yeah, of course.
But yeah, no, this movie was a lot of fun. It was definitely too ridiculous for words, so I completely understand.
Right, literally.
But sometimes those are the best movies, and I had a pretty good time with this. This was a fun
Well,
week considering we watched a couple of '70s car movies.
you know what? As our friend Steve Carlton would say, if you're watching a movie like Death Race 2000, you got to be keeping it green.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You cannot go into this movie sober.
Oh yeah. No, I wrote a bunch of notes down about Duel.
Yeah.
And then when I went back and looked at them, I was like, I'm not gonna say any of that.
Looking at the cast list, one of the mechanics that got ran over was John Landis. People
Oh, shit.
might know him,
Oh.
director of American Werewolf in London.
Uh-huh.
Look at that.
Well, it was a smaller world back then, man. Everybody knew everybody.
Machine
Yeah,
Gun
that's
Joe got
true.
points for
Hollywood
him.
was a lot smaller.
They got points for running over John Landis. I love it.
That's got to count for double, right?
At least.
All right, scores, Lance.
Oh, this is an 8.5, man. This is not quite 9. 9 is like my mini masterpiece, but 8.5 is like one of the funnest movies I've seen in a really long time. And I watched this one a lot when I was a kid, so it holds up. It holds up. I would just love to see it modernized, man. If they could do like a movie does not do this justice. It's too big of a universe.
Could they do it now with the same kind of comedy aspect and it actually be good? Because this was kind of slapsticky and cartoony.
Yeah,
you know?
the right person could. I think the right person could. Maybe like the guy who directed Barbarian could pull it off. I'm thinking. I don't know.
Let me see how his second movie comes out before.
Yeah, because that one you told me to watch, that Miss March or whatever. That was fucking horrible. It was really bad.
Well, that was
Miss
him
March.
starring. That was him starring in it.
They were
Sure.
like teenagers or some shit, right?
Yeah, he's looking for his high school sweetheart.
Yeah,
and she's
yeah,
like
yeah.
Miss March, Playboy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Playboy.
That the
Yeah.
guy the lead guy, that's the guy that directed Barbarian.
Okay. Fucking awesome.
Well, who else? I mean, who else? All right. So who would you guys?
Dane DeHaan.
To direct?
Yeah. Well, Dane DeHaan is a given. But who would you guys
Dane
cast?
DeHaan's going to play Herman the German or Merman the German.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Calamity Jane. Calamity Jane. Come on.
Calamity Jane.
You got to have somebody out there that has a lot of gumption. Maybe the chick that plays Beth Dutton, the one that was in Lake Eden.
Oh,
she would
yeah.
be a good
Well,
Calamity
except
Jane.
she's British. Carrie
What's her
Underwood.
name? Rebecca Hall.
Yeah, I could go for that.
Okay.
I could definitely go for that. And you guys said Machine Gun Kelly for Machine Gun Joe just for the name, Philip?
Yeah, but he wouldn't be as likable.
Yeah.
No, we got to find somebody likable, man.
I
I
say
still like Mike Tyson.
I say bring back Stallone and just pretend like he never
Yeah.
died.
Stallone's got to be Frankenstein.
Yeah, I could see that.
and that's a twist. That would be the twist. And then
But
you
they
got
don't
Tyson.
reveal it until although it's not like you can't tell that it's Stallone under there.
I know, and he pulls the mask off, and like that sword is kind of on. It's like he looks perfectly.
And of course, like we brought her up before, Samara Weaving would have to be his navigator.
Oh my god! You may have to make her.
Gold.
Maybe she could be Calamity Jane.
I'd watch that.
I think she could pull that off.
Yeah, I was thinking
Right?
of another Rebecca Ferguson from what was it?
I'm kind of on the Samara Weaving kick now, man. I think I could see her pulling it off.
As Matilda the Hun.
No, get this. Here's a twist. How about Zazie Beetz as Matilda the Hun?
Oh yes.
She is German in real life.
Is she really?
I think she could do it, man. I think she could do it. It'd be hilarious, man.
Yeah, there was a whole episode on Atlanta about her German background. They kind of incorporated it to the show.
There you go.
Zazie Beetz as Matilda the Hun, and Dane DeHaan as Herman the German.
I love it. So we got our first team. But like I said, instead of 5, I think we should start with 10. And every episode, somebody dies off, right? Until you get to the final. Okay. Boom, we got it. Who are we going to try to sell this to? Paramount Plus or Netflix?
Sell it. Let's make it. Who do we know?
Okay, real quick, I'm gonna put the challenge out, Steve. I know you're gonna hear this. I need another movie poster.
With Mike Tyson as Machine Gun Joe.
Well, he's in guaranteed because we started with
I
that.
think with Machine Gun Mike.
Yeah, they were
no
so
matter
far
what.
off in the remake. You go from Stallone to Tyrese.
Oh my God.
That's a good point.
Well,
All right.
shoot. Man. Okay. All right.
All right. 8.5 for Lance. Brian
Yes,
was
8.5.
Oh, I'm gonna go 9. I had
Nine?
a lot of fun with this.
Nice.
This is, of course, we talked about my love for B movies and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
Roger Corman is like one of the kings of the B movie, and this is
the epitome of it.
yes, definitely.
This is
And
it.
and whoever put out the Blu-ray for it, because it's out of print, re-release it, because I'm not paying $100 on eBay for it. I fucking hate that shit.
Yeah, and I can't buy it on iTunes right now because I had to lock my Apple card because somebody, when I started family sharing, was buying a bunch of Roblox shit.
Ah.
And that shit adds up quick, right, Philip?
Yeah, man. We've fucking game. Well, I had this conversation with my wife the other day. I was like, I bet you we spent $1,000 more than that between Roblox and fucking Fortnite.
Fortnite. Yep.
Yeah, I never went through that. I discovered the gift cards before.
Yeah.
Yes, smart. Because when they're gone, they're gone.
Though there was a time when my older ones rented a bunch of movies on pay-per-view back when we used to do the cable.
Yes. I remember those days.
The movies on pay-per-view. I watched them scrambled like any red-blooded.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Would you say a 9, Brian?
Yeah.
It's pretty high.
Like I told you last week, go with your heart.
It's hard to compare this to Duel because I only gave Duel a 7.5, which is a score that I think it deserves. But I think Duel was probably a better movie. I don't know, but this one was a lot of fun. I gotta go 8.
I agree with you. Duel's a better made movie, but
Yes.
Death Race 2000 is more fun.
It was like they accidentally made an awesome movie.
Yeah.
And most of it was because of the slapsticky ridiculousness of it. And again,
Sure.
Peter Fonda, great last words.
Yeah, you can't take the comedy out of this.
Yeah.
Or you'll lose the whole point.
Too ridiculous for words. I just don't think that they could remake it with the comedy and make it hit like it did. I don't.
I'd
think
like
that
to see him
works
try.
in this.
Maybe
day
you could
and
have
age.
Nick. Maybe we could have Nick Kroll in one of the teams.
Oh, fucking sold.
just
He's
as a
the German
literal
guy.
douche. No,
No.
he's a new team. Like I said, we're gonna have the 5 teams that we've got in the movie and make 5 more. And you can make like a douche mobile. And
Can
Nick
we get
Kroll
what's
is
his
the-
name in there?
Dude.
What's that comedic actor? Manzukis?
Sure. Why not, man? Get Will Smith in there. Call his car the Slap.
Yeah, but Mike Tyson is definitely gonna have to kill him.
Immediately, like in the first episode.
He sends his pigeons after him. Fly, my pretty. All right, but it's a fun movie, man. Death Race is awesome. Would have been better with Mike Tyson. Lance, you want to lead us out?
All right, man. As always, we want to thank you guys for listening to another episode of The Horror Returns. We would love to hear your feedback and ideas. You can reach us at thehorrorreturns@gmail.com. We may have a phone line open soon. Brian and I will talk about that and see what happens. We should have an a Patreon episode of Hannibal up this week. And Wrestling
Sorry,
returns
Zim.
sometime this week?
Wrestling sometime this week. We already recorded the Revenge of the Ninja, so that'll be sometime this week. And the next Stream Fiends will be 90 somethings. I can't think of the year. Set It Off, starring Queen Latifah, and
Oh Jesus, I haven't seen that in years.
yeah, most of our picks are kind of like a movie
Very
will get
random.
referenced. Yeah, a movie
Which
will
is
get
good.
referenced,
Which is
and
good.
we'll just be like, "Hey, we haven't seen that in a while." So
That's cool, man. Yeah, that's a show that's needed out there in the world today, man. Like instead of so much structure, just like pick something, you know?
yeah, and it's THR Stream Fiends, not just Stream Fiends, because that's somebody else's podcast. I'm sure they're
Stole it.
great guys, but
Yeah, we don't want the problems that horror for dummies had. So, or the problem we had, we're having to re-upload every episode. Thanks, Universal Music. Uh-oh, did you bleep that out, Philip? I guess we can't. We're live. But go to our website, www.thehorrorreturns.com, and please consider becoming a Patreon patron. Let's just do a challenge this month. Let's see how many $1 patrons we can get. $1 a month for the next 30 days. If you sign up, we're not only going to let you pick the 3 movies for a future show, but we're going to go ahead and let you get the $5 privilege of picking a commentary.
ah,
So 30 days starting whenever we post this show.
it's giving out free money.
So next week, we begin a retrospective of Psycho. We're going to revisit. We know we did it in the Year in Horror 1960, but that was so fucking long ago.
Yeah,
I love Vince Vaughn.
this was
Oh, are we going to do the Vince Vaughn one?
no, we're not.
Okay.
This was a
So-
poll we did last year. I asked the Facebook group what franchise they wanted us to do a retrospective on, and kind of just trying to make good on that poll that was over a year ago. So
Okay. So we got Psycho and Psycho 2.
yes,
So, Philip, until the horror returns again.
Good night.
it's a hand grenade.